What's up, Rockstars? Welcome to a news video. This one is jam-packed with a ton of information. In fact, I did so much research on this. There are so many new things coming out that I haven't shown you, or that are out now, or that are ending, or that I have a comment on, that I'm actually going to have to split this off into 2 or 3 videos. I have a ton to go over. So I'm going to go rapid fire in this one about stuff that's currently here, a few talking points, some things I'm looking forward to, and then we're going to cut it, and I'll be back with another video. Subscribe if you haven't, of course, to hear about a lot of the other stuff that's coming up, including some stuff that I'll be showing off on this channel, and then some talking points even after that. So stay tuned, we're in for a ride, let's get to it. Okay, now we're going to start out here with Village Attacks Grim Dynasty Reborn. That is right, I'm covering Village Attacks Grim Dynasty again. Wow, has it been a while. This was like 2 or 3 homes ago that I covered this. Granted, I moved more than a normal person ever should, but that doesn't, it's been a while. It's been a while, right? So what is going on here? This is by T.A. Gray. They are the company that, well, I guess it's actually like, what, Scoundrel Games or whatever. Either way, this is person bought the rights to Village Attacks, including the Grim Dynasty, all the assets and IP and stuff like that, because obviously things did not work out before the company kind of went under and they sold off a lot of their assets to pay creditors, not backers. And so here they are now with Grim Dynasty again, this time reborn, reforged and remade, or made the first time because it was never... Was Grim Dynasty born at all? I feel like it was like not born, but either way, it's reborn now. This is actually kind of crazy. So right now they have almost 1,000 backers. That's a very good number to be around, especially for a print. You want that as literally a minimum. Ideally, they would have a lot more than that. They do have 17 days still to go, so plenty of time here. And a little bit under 50,000 raised. Now, that's not a whole lot, but a lot of it is because they're trying to make up for, they're pretty much selling it at cost, right? A little history about this company, by the way. They've done a lot of RPGs. For the most part, they've been delivering them. I think they are in the process of about to deliver one, and one is still kind of in progress. So I think they have 2 outstanding, like 5e RPG campaigns. They've never done anything to this scale. So just as an FYI, this is obviously a lot of people, a lot of pieces, a lot of parts, a lot of manufacturing that they haven't necessarily done, at least not through their Kickstarter campaigns that I personally could tell anyway. However, most of this was already done. That was kind of the hard part, right? Is a lot of all the art and the sculpting and all that kind of stuff was already there. So past backers have a $5 pledge to do, and it's 774 people have done that, right? So of the 973, 774 are in the return backer one. So this is very much a lot of people that are still invested in this. And then there's about 200-ish or so that are looking at perhaps something in the future, something new, right? New people to it. Obviously, it'd be nice to see an increase in that as you see everything new. There's this one as well, another 54, and that could also be some returning backers because there is some new stuff here. It's pretty cool for the Grim Dynasty stuff, right? I think it's awesome. I love that they're doing this. I hope it works out well for them, and I hope they're able to deliver and do really well and then take this to the next level, because one of the cool things, as you can see, there's these new like minis and stuff, bosses that were created. Really, really cool stuff looking on here. What Village Attacks is essentially plays the bad guys and the heroes are coming to like attack you, and you're trying to fight off the heroes, which is a very interesting way, and it's a way to make the competition or what you're fighting against very interesting, because they're all heroes. They're all special and cool, right? As opposed to mindless rats and spiders and orcs and whatnot, right? So if you think about it, way back in like Descent, you know how you had like those lieutenants and they were like the special ones? That's pretty much all the enemies here, right? Which is kind of neat. I think it's cool. I almost backed this originally. I'm glad, hindsight, that I didn't, but I'm definitely interested again to see how this works. I'm not going to personally be jumping into this, but if it does work out, you bet I'll be covering anything in the future that they do as well. All right, following up with that, we have Suriya. This is by Hexa House. They did Barbaric last. That was their last one they've done. This one looks fairly interesting. Now, I am concerned about the backer number. Now, they only have 45 hours to go, so they're kind of in the last 48. So this will be the last time you see it, obviously, on this channel, unless there's an update post campaign that I need to cover. It looks beautiful. It looks really cool. And in fact, they have these really cool areas where you keep all your minis that are super neat. Between Barbaric and between this, they obviously have a very interesting design sense that I think is quite unique. In fact, even these like round tiles that you're on is very interesting. I think the one bummer about this in general is that there's a lot of wasted space. First of all, it's circular, which means that's kind of odd, right? But more the space in between, as you can see, there's all the space in between that you can use like a roll dice and stuff like that, but otherwise it's kind of not needed. So there's a lot of minis here, but they're stacked really neatly here. I think that's actually pretty organized. That's pretty cool. And a lot of them are repeats as well. So it's not like an overly crazy expensive, even though it has 152 miniatures, the amount of unique sculpts is obviously a lot lower. Again, art is gorgeous. I think it's kind of interesting to do the land like this, especially the elevation where you stack them on top of each other. I think that's kind of neat as well. As you see, they keep like tokens and stuff on here. Like, it's fine. If nothing else, it themes the table a little bit. But I think you could probably squeeze this into a smaller area otherwise. Like if you had them in like a little token tray or something like that, it just takes up less space. Either way, feel free to take a look at this. They've been revealing a lot. They've been pushing on it a lot. Obviously, I'd like to see that backers count go up again to that 1,000. Normally, if you're manufacturing in China, which everybody does, we'll see how they are with tariffs, but for the most part, any kind of indie board game still wants to be mass manufactured in China. For whatever reason, that's what they consider success. It's what they put all their goals to, and it seems to be the only way people know how to manufacture any kind of board game, except that there are alternatives. But either way, typically that requires a minimum 1,000 piece order, and then they go in like increments. It depends. Sometimes it's a couple hundred, sometimes it's another 1,000. Just depends. Either way, I hope it works out for them. I hope they continue to get the support, because I think they're a cool little indie developer. All right, next up, Blasphemous, the board game. This is wrapping up. Still 3 days left, though. Not even the last 48, and they're at 1.2 million. I have an apology. So, Ludus Mana Studio reached out to me to show off this game, and I would have, obviously, I've played the board game, didn't beat it, but I did play the first one. I haven't played the second one yet, so no spoilers, please. But I love the kind of Dark Souls, grim dark, Elden Ring kind of vibe it already has anyway. Plus, like, the religious undertones are super cool. It's just a really neat world and a cool Metroidvania kind of fighting game as well for the video game. So for the board game, obviously interested in Ludus Mana Studio, does really cool minis, which obviously I'm a fan of. And so, yeah, looks ultra premium, looks cool. They sent an email to my old, like, Gmail email address, and I didn't see it until literally I'm busy doing research for this very video. So I apologize I didn't have a video out on this. I totally would have. I'll get it next time. But either way, it looks pretty cool. Again, I like the little boss battle thing. I was concerned about the map early on before I saw the boss battle portion, because I wasn't sure how it would feel Metroidvania style, right? Because Metroidvania isn't just about like getting abilities, unlocking areas. It's also a lot about like the platforming and combat, right? Those are very common things that it also typically shares, like the Castlevania games or Metroid, stuff like that. The boss battle looks a little bit more tactile when it comes to like fighting enemies and stuff like that. And so I think it's a good marriage between the two. It looks kind of interesting. It looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go to rewards real quick just to show you. Here's where they are. They are kind of a little bit on the pricier side because they tend to do fairly premium quality components and stuff like that. So you got 150 for penance, which is kind of the base game and stretch goals and stuff. 333 for all, 5 expansions, I think it is. 5 expansions, yes. That's a lot of expansions. So I don't know if that's how much Blasphemous you want, but that's how much Blasphemous you can get. All right. So looking at the stretch goals, though, they've added a whole bunch of component stuff, but also like actual like enemies and characters and all sorts of fun minis that they're also doing. That it looks like a lot. Like they're gonna have the typical kind of big stretch goal box that you used to always get, and now only sometimes get when it comes to these campaign games. But yeah, no, looks super cool. Looks crazy. Everything's like wild and just extreme. Very fitting for the IP. Okay, next up after that, we got Cosmic Conquest. This is Alpha Clash Cosmic Conquest. So just this Alpha Clash has been around for a while. In fact, there are like the card games kind of been there, right? So this Cosmic Conquest is what they're working for now. 226 backers, obviously not a whole lot, not enough for necessarily just printing for that. in China, right? What are their alternatives? They have plenty. I don't know if that's what they're doing. Either way, they have over double funded just about. So they're really close to it anyway. Once they get about 60,000, it'll be double what their funding goal was. I've covered this a few times, so I'm not going to like really dive into this too much. Just know that, again, it's established IP. The company's kind of been around. Their campaigns on crowdfunding have been not the most successful things in the world. So that's kind of where they're at now, where they're really trying to do that. But obviously, as you can see, they're doing a lot of unique stuff when it comes to how you play this game. It's a little bit different than most things. So again, feel free to check it out. I like showing off these indies, seeing if I can get them some more eyes on it. If we look at their tiers, here we go. $60 for the base game, not bad at all. Tier 2, $109. That's pretty good for all you get, because as you can see now, you're getting like minis and stuff. $150 and you get even more. And then there's like this huge $500 one where you even get like this like shirt that is questionably designed, but whatever, it fits with the game anyway. Anyway, there's a lot there. Go and check it out. Okay, next up. Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures is doing Tiny Epic stuff, which means that they're funding quite well. They're selling a whole bunch. It's fairly cheap, and for how small it is, there's actually quite a bit to it. Now, the Tiny Epic has changed over time. What used to be like a little like like a mint box, is now actually a $35 game, right? So $35 is what the base game is. That being said, what you're going to want to do is go $49 and get the deluxe. You get the expansion with it. So there's Tiny Epic Adventures, and then there's Tiny Epic Adventures. Where's the they're trying to remember the name of the expansion right here. It's too small. Either way, there's an expansion there. I promise that there's a name underneath Adventures that I can't read right now that you can get. Wait, it'll probably be right here, right? I would think. Oh, The Phantom Voyage. Dear Lord. They could work on their title art a little bit to make it actually readable on this tiny little Kickstarter sliver of a page and all this wasted space on the side, because people don't know how to use websites that don't support just phones. But either way, the minis actually looking pretty nice for what they are. They're going to be smaller, they're going to be cheaper, but they're well designed for what they are. And they definitely know the quality and the scale and sculpt accordingly to still make it kind of interesting. The art's actually pretty good. It looks like a pretty decent little game. Again, for 35, not too bad. For 45, not too bad. That being said, that is getting up there, right? So it's no longer the $15 or $20 it used to be. So, times are changing. It's kind of interesting. But either way, doing very well. So 6 days to go, 13,000 backers. Looks like a lot of people really enjoy this series. Most of them are pretty good, some better than others. This one looks to be pretty cool as well. All right, moving on from that. We have Champions of Midgard 10th Anniversary Edition. Almost 2,000 backers. 12 days still to go, 350,000 raised just about. And if you have an extra $250 burning a hole in your pocket and love Champions of Midgard, this could be yours too. There's actually other pledges, so we'll get to that. Very premium look at it, of course, but quite pricey for that premium as well. So what are we doing here? So there's the $250, right? And late pledges are going to up it by $50, so you'll be paying $300 in late pledge. That's a great way to not get very many late pledges. I think that's a chicken and egg thing. I think a lot of people like the fact that, oh man, we're going to like raise more because we're going to pressure people into buying it now. But then I can understand if it's like years later, right? There's some games like Into the Unknown that like really take a long time making it. And it kind of makes sense that after a while, you're risking less. It's more sure. There's more available. So you pay a little bit more. I can understand that, right? But when it comes to like a normal campaign, that's just kind of, I think you're trading one thing for another. So I think more people will back at the 250, but I think you're going to get less backers in the late pledge because of that. But whatever. And the 400 plus on the website and conventions you can probably pull it off with. I don't know how many $400 ones you're going to sell on your website, but whatever. What do I know? Maybe nothing. Okay, so premium, you get a whole bunch. This is for the 250 version. There are other versions. You get like, instead of cards, you get like these cool boats, and you get dice that are, for Kickstarter, they're pretty normal. For this, they're pretty fancy. I wouldn't call this $250 dice. To me, this seems almost kind of standard for a lot of Kickstarter board games. But for them, that's kind of nice. And then you get the nicer tokens. You get 3D. I think my problem with a lot of this, and why I know I'm a little tongue in cheek here. I'm not saying it's a bad product. It's not. Is that this used to be what normal stuff you get in Kickstarter. Like this would be a stretch goal for, sculpted tokens and, a miniature to replace the card and fancier dice. And even now, we're starting to see campaigns do that more because it's actually more cost effective than making a whole nother game with another box that you then have to ship. And so there's this big expansion everybody buys. You just make the game and then premium the crap out of it. And then that's now the Kickstarter version. And it's typically not $250 for it. It's often free. I don't know. So it's cool. It got the neoprene mat and all this other kind of stuff, right? So it is very nice. Don't get me wrong. It's very nice. It's just kind of $250 is quite a bit, in my opinion. Now, of course, you get the box as well, right? So you actually get there's the game there too. Okay, so that's a $250. As you can see, you get all that again. It's all very fancy, very cool, very nice. They also have a deluxe version for $150, still fairly pricey, but you get all the expansions and stuff like that too, plus these upgraded components, mostly just custom wood-shaped tokens and stuff. And then you have an upgrade kit for $90. That is wild to me, but people overpay for trays and all sorts of stuff, so it's whatever. And there's more. So anyway. They have a nice chart here. It kind of shows the difference here, which again is quite nice. It's very, very fancy. And if you don't have the game or if you love the game, this is the version to get. I mean, in all honesty, if you haven't jumped in, you're going to get this version. It doesn't have to be the 250 one, right? But get the nice version with all the expansions and it's all in one box and it's all pretty and it's got the cool 10th anniversary special on it. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it makes me sad because I remember how campaigns used to be and we're just not there anymore. Either way, doing good. Almost 2,000 backers. Well done. Obviously a popular game. Okay, the Megan 2.0 board game table by Geek & Son. Geek & Son, a legit company. I have spoken with them. I've met with them. I've worked with them. I have some of their products, and they're really a solid company. They're definitely by gamers for gamers, and honestly, in my opinion, Geek & Son holds this kind of nice in between. You have stuff like Wormwood that's super exquisite and fancy, and they killed a rainforest to get some, Aztecian bamboo wood for you or whatever, right? They have all these really fancy woods that are beautiful and amazing, and it's really expensive. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars for little things, right? Then you have stuff like the Origin table and some of the other cheaper options that do the job, but honestly are much cheaper. It's closer to furniture you would buy from Walmart and then put together Better Homes and Gardens kind of stuff, with almost like dowels and glue kind of junk. But for board games, so it's still nice and actually affordable. Geek & Son to me is kind of in between. Really good quality product, very well made. It's very the fit and finish is very nice. It's a legit piece, but it's also practically made when it comes to the woods that they choose, when it comes to the options that they offer. So they're not offering, too many crazy things or anything like that. I think it's a happy medium. So for me, this would be almost like the pro consumer style thing, right? And then you get the crazy I live and breathe board games, right? But seriously, this is my exact table. I still use it all the time. It works very, very well. So let's go on and take a look at stretch goals real quick, just to show you that they're doing all sorts of stuff. I have this mug holder. It works very well. It's very good. They're acrylic bins, also very cool. They have these new metal ones, which are pretty slick. I actually really dig that. These metal holders are really cool looking. I actually really dig that. So that's cool. That's slick. Like I said, their trays work very well. Of course, I have some of these as well. Work great. So yeah, all these very useful, very helpful, good quality stuff. Okay, so let's look at the prices and kind of what they have here. So I have the Megan Median, and that pretty much plays 90% of the board games I play. Now, not all of them. That is a little too small for some of them. For some of them, I'll have to play them at the top because you get the little extra area here, right? So not the inside the well. Even then, there are some that I even push that. I would much prefer a larger, actually, the one I would love. But either way, making medium, 1700, and you get all the, like, the rail system and attachments and all this. Like, it's really, really cool. Very good. I would really actually, I mean, it's a great table, and it'll play most things you throw at it. I'm a pretty heavy gamer, right? You guys know that I play Warhammer and all stuff like that. The Megan Large, I think, would fit a lot of non-war game players. This will fit anything you pretty much throw at it. It's really close to the 4x6 that I would need for Warhammer, but not quite. What you want, if you want, this thing will play and seat everybody. One of the nice things about it is they offer a long version. That's really cool if you just need more seats, right? Because people can sit a lot more comfortable here. You can cram in a few more. But this Megan Crown here, 4x6 foot, actually a little bit more, really would fit Warhammer. Fantastic. Really, really good. You're at 2600 at that point. It's obviously a quite large table, but my goodness, could you do some great gaming here. Look, either way, regardless, they have the options. It's all built kind of similar, and that's kind of the whole purpose. Again, it's functional. It's easy to manufacture at a good quality, at a scale that people can actually get, and it's not like some artesian kind of crazy stuff. So I think it's awesome. Hopefully they continue to do well, because I think they fit a good in between for a lot of people there. All right, moving on. Ozob, a cyberpunk board game. Launches in 2 days, 16 hours. I have an email I've not responded to. I'll respond to the email. I'll see what I can do. I've shown this off a few times. It's obviously getting much closer, and they are showing off a lot more now, which is really, really cool. So I think that's awesome. Again, I love the style. It's crazy. It's wacky. Even the board, like just the angled road here, just tickles me in a certain way, because you don't see that a lot. Normally it would be square, right? Everything's square and grid based. And I like the fact that they are doing that, but still changing things up. But it shows the finesse, I think, that they're looking at here when it comes to, like, they're actually designing a legit board game. This is not your standard. We have a whole bunch of, like, little square pieces that just fit together Zombicide style, right? This is like actually something kind of different. They talk about the variety of missions that they have and how different they are. Obviously, the style is crazy, is wild, is interesting, right? Very, very cool. The upgrade system seems neat, so I dig that as well. Price-wise, $120, very standard there for that, plus stretch goals, so that's looking quite well. Honestly, it's looking pretty legit. I kind of like it. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think they have a good potential to do well here, because they're offering something different. And I really, really like that. You got to stand out at this point in the board game space, but at the same time, be relatable enough to where people know, hey, I'll probably like this game. So boss battles, sure. Piloting mechs, sure. Upgrading cards and getting some unique ones at level 3, definitely. I can upgrade a character. I can do that. That works for me, right? Talking about escort missions and survive missions and assassination missions and all this other stuff, that all the different missions that you're doing and the different objectives works for me. Looks cool. That's Ozob. I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I'll take a look closer once the campaign actually launches. In fact, I know I told you I'm having some more news videos. Maybe I'll include it in one of those. Okay, next up we have Onward, the MOBA board game, also coming out around the same time, 2 days, 17 hours at time of recording. It'll be about half a day off by the time I launch this, and if you saw this late, that's why you subscribe. Onward is by Skytier Games, following their Skytier IP. This is essentially the MOBA board game, and I think it looks pretty legit. You can see the different lanes that they have. You can see the stuff that you can purchase, right? You can see the different towers that they have and the nexus you have to destroy to win, right? Very much a Dota, League of Legends board game. Now, you'll also notice that they're reusing their characters and their minis and all that kind of stuff, which, first of all, helps with costs, makes it a known quantity. That's obviously all great. What I don't know, I didn't look into it quite enough. I've spent half my day researching so much. I don't fully read through every single little thing. So if I get something wrong, or if you know something I don't know, it's totally fine. Leave it in a comment. Let other people know so they can see the information that you have. I think that's great, and that's awesome. So what I'm not sure about is, like, if I already have this mini, I already have Sky Tier, what do I back? What do I do to where I don't rebuy the same miniature? Does that make sense? That's kind of my only question here. I'm not quite sure of. If you know about it, again, let us all know in the comments below. Okay. Next up, G.I. Joe, Operation Cobra. 9 days, 16 hours until this campaign's about 9 days by the time you see this. And yeah, it actually looks like a legit game. A lot of times you get these IP games and you're like, I don't know. This actually seems to be a legitimate game. First of all, I appreciate, again, it's all square based, but it's not like even out either, right? And it looks like a wide variety of what it's doing, but it looks to be very on point with the IP itself. And what I mean by that is, if I scroll down here, right, and they're talking about mission, they're like, this is obviously a legit like board game that they made just with this IP, but the IP matches. So like this right here, for instance. So you can always like go heroic and like double do an action or something like that. But as they become, when your vitality is exceeded, you flip to a wounded side. And then it's really, again, what they're showing here, fight under pressure, right? You can still keep going. You're not out of the game yet. I think that's really cool. It's very fitting, I think, for the IP. And it's little things like that, right? Whether it's the design of the tiles or whether it's, smart mechanics that fit with the theme so well that I really, really dig. So if you're a fan of the IP G.I. Joe, this might be something to check out. And if you're not, but it looks like a cool theme and you're just into board games, I think this might still work for you. So that's pretty cool. 7,000 people have signed up, over almost 8,000 actually. So it looks like they're set to do pretty well. Next up, Rise of Myths Cthulhu. This is by Synergic Games. They did Harakiri before this. I have a prototype of this. I have played it. I have given my first impressions to my patrons and YouTube members. Huge shout out to them, by the way. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It allows me to cover exactly what I want, say what I want, and be able to highlight indies and stuff like that instead of just chasing views and chasing contracts. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks for helping me stay as independent as I can. For Rise of Myths, it's actually kind of neat. It's a deck builder roguelike game. So you're like getting new cards and removing old cards and building your deck and getting stronger. And at the same time, you're going through the mission and getting as far as you can, and then going through and getting as far as you can, and then like gaining points over time for that roguelike experience, right? So you can start a little bit stronger and stuff like that and get a little bit farther. So that's pretty cool. They have different classes. All the classes seem to play quite differently from what I saw. Again, I'll have a whole review out. I'll tell you about it because there are some interesting things that make this a little bit different than some other experiences I've had, both for the roguelike, but also for the deck building. Both are have a spin on it that is a little bit different that I would definitely want to tell you about. So I'll tell you about that in their full review. Stay tuned for that. Okay. Next up, we have Dungeons & Lasers 7. Porthaven. This is one I was super pumped about, and I've now pulled back. I'm not quite as pumped about personally just because I have less use for it, but I'll tell you about it. So this comes out in 16 days, 19 hours, right? You get the free gift. It's Dungeons & Lasers, so you know it's going to be high quality. It's made by Archon Studios, so you know it's going to be done well and actually delivered. It's a very safe bet. I have full confidence in them. I think they're going to do fantastic. They always do. And as you can see, almost 18,000 people following the 7th campaign in this series. That's how popular it is. That's how well done it is. That's how professionally Archon is doing it. Archon blows me away from the like rags to riches story that they have, from where they were to where they are now. It is. I remember when I couldn't mention them without somebody yelling about Protos, right? Like they've done really well. The proof's in the pudding, right? I think that's super cool. Coming April 1st, right? This is Dungeons & Lasers. However, it is very much focused on scatter terrain and characters, not as much on like new terrain, right? So if you're looking for actually new terrain, there's actually a little bit less of that. They have their cool monsters. They're doing very well with that, right? They have this amazingly cool big ship, which is super cool, and you can play inside of it and all this stuff. But a lot of it is these characters and like little doodads and knickknacks and paddywhacks and whatever, right? They do have animal companions. Those are coming back. Obviously, we haven't seen everything that they have on offer here. Again, very good quality product, very well made. I've loved every set of Dungeons & Lasers I've gotten. I think they do a great job. I was excited about this because I like the Freebooters skirmish game, and a lot of that is kind of piratey swashbuckling, right? And so a port town or a ship or something like that, super useful. But the characters and NPCs only somewhat for me, right? So that's kind of the difference here. But if you are an RPG player, be prepared for some RPing in the G here, because quite impressive. You can give a ghost ship version, which is cool. As you can see, this gray part, stuff they've already offered, that's Dungeons and Lasers previous, right? This is the new stuff. As you see, scatter terrain and characters. That's kind of what this one is. So just know that when you're backing this, that's what you're getting. Again, a lot of it looks super great, super good. I could use this on the little skirmish areas and stuff like that super well. And I love the little touches that make it personalized. I think that's awesome. Their character design's fantastic. It's all good. It's all in hits and minis. It's all fantastic. I have no qualms with any of this. I was hoping for a little bit, more like seaside shanty town kind of terrain. And maybe they'll still have that. I don't know. We'll see. They still are 16, almost 17 days out. So I'll let you know. Okay. Now, next up, we have Fairytale. This is by SmartUp. This is just about a month out, right? So in April, this will launch here. And it looks really nice for families. Huge. I still remember to this day playing stuffed fables with my children, and this is right there with them, and something that they would have loved, and I would have loved to play with them. Obviously, they're older now. They're a little angsty, and they're teenagers, and they're going through all those motions that teenagers do, which is not playing Fairytale with their dad. I don't think my youngest might. But everybody else I don't think would be interested. That being said, if you're in a different position than me with your children, or if you just have different, board game groups that tend to pick games, this is awesome. First of all, I love seeing gamers versus family, abstract versus thematic, luck versus strategy. That's super cool, of course. But these characters are just amazing. They're so good. The art looks great. It's super thematic. Again, this is a little bit wasteful table space wise, but you get your equipment in little mushrooms and leaves and apples and junk like that. It just looks really, really neat. I love the art. I love that they're showing off the artist. And I think any board game company not using AI needs to be prouder about it and talk about it more. 100%. Be proud that you're paying artists to make real, original, interesting work. Because I think it's a differentiator for a lot of people. Yeah, minis look great. They look awesome. Obviously, they're just renders, right? That's a little skinny. It's going to have to be thickened up. It's not quite pretty. See how skinny like that is? Like, that's not going to be in the final miniature, obviously. So they'll get there. Same with this. It's too skinny as well. But either way, looks pretty cool. I think it's neat. I think it's cute. And I wish I had little kids to play it with. I'm not going to lie. All right. Now, I have two more to show you. Both of them I have kind of a comment on. Both of them are a little bit of a tease. My next video will include this and so much more. This was not even half of everything that I'm covering here. Two of them in particular, I might actually move off to even a separate video because they are big news items that I want to cover in detail. Done some research on. I think you guys need to know about it. But Bloodwork by iDemo Games. This is interesting. It's interesting because the game looks actually quite cool. It looks quite familiar, and I think there's a reason for that. So, as you can see from the renders alone, this is obviously Lazy Squire Games. It's Telltale Lazy Squire Games. It's their style. It's their design. I didn't see it necessarily mentioned anywhere here. I didn't see anybody asking about it, but you would have to very much prove to me otherwise that this was not Lazy Squire Game sculptors, right? Now, the art is not done by them. The art is separate. It does look different, so that makes total sense, right? I get that. That being said, I also know that Lazy Squire Games helps with gameplay design, and I'm seeing some odd similarities, right? Whether it's the AI deck card that I bemoaned in Wild Ascent, right? That seemed kind of similar there, or whether it's all the branching paths and stuff. One of the things that's kind of interesting, look at this. This just screams Storm Thunder, so your characters can deal with like repercussions of their emotional state and stuff like that, and how that affects them in the game. Like, that's very Storm Thunder-ish, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm jumping to conclusions here on what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at. But at the end of the day, that's all I can tell you guys, right? I look into this stuff and I tell you what I think. I look into this stuff for hours and hours and hours. And not all of you do. Some of you do, and some of you have great information. If you have any more, obviously let me know. But this does give me some slight pause. Now, Lazy Squire Games, right, who did Storm Thunder and Wild Ascent. Well, they did Wild Ascent. They never did Storm Thunder. They're really good at treating other companies really well and hitting deadlines and delivering for them. They are also really, really good. I mean, Lazy Square Games is exceptional at giving the middle finger to their backers because their fake updates and their joke timelines and their joke updates about how like, oh, we like added doors, like thanks for the year and a half of development, right? Like it's just garbage. They have not made anything. When you have Into the Unknown just spinning circles around them and how much they make in a prototype, the Lazy Square Games can't deliver one act of a 3-act thing in Storm Thunder or their next Wild Ascent or all this other kind of stuff. It's just a joke, right? So anything associated with Lazy Square Games, I am instantly hesitant on, and it sucks because I think iDemo Games has a really cool product here. I really think they do. However, I absolutely hate the company that they are working with, and I think it's a garbage company that people should not want to be associated with. I can understand why it's not mentioned here. And again, maybe I'm wrong, and they are free to very much put the receipts there to prove that this is not Lazy Square Games. And if not, boy, did they copy Lazy Square Games design, because that's what that is. Yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. I want to like it. Bloodwork looks super cool. It really does. It sounds super cool. It looks like it's well thought out. But I do not want to in any way, shape, or form support Lazy Square Games. And this is kind of doing that, I think. Anyway, I'll let you know. I'm still linking down in the description below to everything, of course. But just to let you know. Okay, next one. Helldivers 2, the board game. That's right. Steamforged Games doing Helldivers 2. This is going to be a massive success. I think they're going to do very well. They're starting to deliver Elden Ring. That'll be a really big push. If they deliver that and on the coattails of delivering that finally, launching Helldivers 2, that's actually a good look for them. That's pretty good. I've been watching their retail presence with their RPG minis and stuff like that. They still have a very strong retail presence there. I think they're doing pretty good. I think they're a little slow sometimes in the delivery. I think they've been slacking a little bit. I don't want them to overextend themselves, especially because I'm going to be covering in a future video. And I know I keep saying this, but it's because I wanted to cover it all, but it's just too long. This is already a long video. But there's another major company that is not doing well that traditionally has. And I want to talk about it and cover it and tell you guys about it and what my concerns are and where I'm at with it and where they're at with it. And it can get messy out there, but I think SFG is doing pretty good. They trimmed down either last year or the year, I think 2 years ago now. They trimmed down, they reduced their head count. I reported on that at the time, and I think they've survived that initial COVID, and now they're really like operating quite well. That's my hope. That's my take on it, at least. And Helldivers 2 definitely deserves a lot of love, so that'll be super cool. Super excited to see more about this. I'll let you know as soon as I can. But either way, it looks like it's coming April 8th. Okay, that's my update for today. Again, there is more. There is a lot more I want to show you of what's coming up, especially some real cool bangers. And there are some talking points I also have as well, including Mythic Games and all sorts of other stuff. Like there are some updates that you guys should know about, so I'll let you know about it. Yeah, really, really excited to share all that with you. Again, that'll be throughout the week, so subscribe if you haven't, obviously. Give the video a like if you appreciate all the work I put into this, because, guys, I tell you, I've been doing this all day. I've been doing it's after 4 p.m. now, okay? This has been my Saturday, but I do it because I am passionate about it, and I'm passionate about telling you guys I guess my take on these things, so that hopefully it can help guide you or inform you in making a really good decision for you. So hopefully that's the case. Again, everything linked down in the description below. If you know anything else or want to share anything, obviously let everybody know in the comments. So you guys can feel free to check the comments, see what people have been saying, see what they're sharing about, because I know I'll be down there too. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And again, huge shout out, patrons and YouTube members. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Take care. Bye, guys.